So this is La Tarea de Tormes, Tractado 3, Part 2. In this way we were until the night time, talking about things that my master, was asking me, to which I responded the best that I could. At that time, in this time, he brought me to the room where the jar was from which we drank, and he said to me, "Lad, stay here and you'll see how we make this bed, so that you know how to make it from now on in." I went to one end and he to the other, and we made the dark, dismal bed, in which there was not much to do, because the bed was on top of some benches. Because the bed had a mat of reeds on top of some benches. So mat of reeds, you have to really see this. So let me see if I say cañizo. So that's what it would have been like this rough, coarse cañizo. Yeah. So we had, where are we up to? Let me find my place. Yeah, so the bed had one of those mats of reeds, wicker, on top of some benches, and on top of this cañizo, on top of this wicker, was the bedclothes spread out, on top of a dark mattress that, for not being very used to being washed, it didn't seem like a mattress, although that was its function. Where a mattress with much less wool than was necessary. So that thing. So we made the bed, and yeah, making sure to soften it down, or soften it up, which was impossible, because from what is hard, with difficulty can one make soft. So this is hard. This literally means the devil of the padding had a wretched thing inside it. So this is in Chalma, in Chalma. So if we look at in Chalma, it's what is used to put on the back of a donkey, but it would have been used as a source of a padding on the bottom of just below the mattress. And so most probably a translation would be the wretched padding had a cursed thing inside it, that when it was put on top of this bed of reeds, bed of wicker, all the reeds were poking through it, and it seemed more like the back of a very thin pig. And on top of that hungry mattress, there was a blanket of the same type, being that it's also dirty, of which the colour I could not manage to work out. Once the bed was made and the night had come, he said to me, "Lázaro, it is late, and from here to the square there's a long way. Also, in this city there are many thieves who rob people's capes when it is night. Let's do or endure as we can, and tomorrow, when day has come, God will grant us mercy, because since I am alone I've not got many provisions in the house, no estoy proveído. Previously, I've eaten these days around and about outside, but now, I say it a lot. We must do it another way. Lord, I said, what's somebody said? Have no pity of me, that very well do I know to spend a night and even more, if necessary, without eating. And he says, you will live more and healthier, he replied to me, because as today we say, there isn't such thing in the world to live long or much than to eat little. And I said to myself, if it is that way, then never will I die, because I have always kept that rule through force, through necessity, haven't been made to, and still I expect from my misfortune to have to keep this rule all my life. And he lay down or went to bed in the bed. Yeah, so he went to bed, and putting on over the headboard his breeches and shubon. So what's this in English? Shubon. It's I've forgotten. Show you. Shubon. So this would be his shubon and his calzas. And the breeches, yes. So we put these over the headboard, the cabecera, and he told me, or ordered me, to go at his feet, which I did. But cursed the sleep that I slept. Yeah, but cursed that night's sleep, because the reeds and my poking out bones all night didn't stop fighting and getting angry with one another, and that with my toils and misfortunes and hunger, I think that in my body there wasn't a pound of meat. And also, since that day, I hadn't eaten almost anything. I was mad with hunger, and the madness which with sleep doesn't have friendship. So and that is not a friend of sleep. Yeah. I curse myself 1,000 times, may God forgive me, and my awful bad misfortune, my bad luck, for most of the night, and the worst thing was not daring to turn over in the bed so as not to wake up him, my master. I asked God I asked him many times for death. Once day had come, we got up, and he starts to clean himself, to clean and to shake down his breeches and his top and his tunic and his cape, and I served him in these small menial things. And he gets dressed very much leisurely, so at the pleasure of space, leisurely, and I gave him water for his hands. He brushed his hair, and he put on his sword in his sword belt. And when he was putting it on, he said to me, "Oh, if you knew, lad, what piece this is," referring to the swords. "There isn't a mark of gold in the world that I would give for it. But thus, not one of these swords, it must be, not one of all those that Antonio made, all those swords that he made, he did not get it right in putting to the sword the steels so quickly and finely as this one has them." So this is a great sword, better than many. And he took out the sword from its sheath, from its scabbard, and he touched it with his fingers, saying, "Do you see it here? I can make with it to trim a ball of wool. So I can even trim a ball of wool with this because it's so sharp." And I said to myself, and with my teeth, although they're not of iron, I could trim a loaf of bread of £4. So he put it away. He put it back in the scabbard, and he put it on himself. So thenir is to gird. He put it on himself, and also a string of fat beads, glass beads, from his sword belt. And in a relaxed way, and with his body upright, very straight, and doing with his body and with his head very gentle swayings, and so swaying in some very genteel, swaying genteelly from side to side with his head and his body. So that's like pretending he's very refined. And putting the end of his cape over his shoulder and sometimes under his arm, and putting his right hand on his hip, he went out the door saying, "Latheron, look after the house whilst I'm going to listen to Mass and make the bed, and go for the jug of water to the river that is down below, and lock the door." So close with a key, which is lock the door, so that they should not steal from us, should not steal anything, and put it, the key, here in the door frame, because so that I can come in if I come back. And he goes up the street with such genteel bearing and countenance that whoever might know him, or see him, it must be, would think him to be a very close relation to the Count of Arcos, or at least his chamberlain who dressed him. So Lord up on high, so this is Lord as in God. "Blessed are you, Lord," I said, I ended up saying. "Blessed are you, Lord, who gives the illness, and you also put the remedy, you provide the remedy." So whoever would meet my lord, so the squire, he would not think according to the happiness that he has inside him, that he's pretending. Who would not think that he had not last night had a good evening meal, or slept in a good bed, and although now it is in the morning. They would not consider him having had a good breakfast. Yeah. So he's saying anyone who met him would think he'd had a good breakfast and slept well. There are great secrets, Lord. They are great secrets, Lord, those that you make and that other people are not aware of. Who would not be deceived by that good disposition and reasonable cape and tunic? Yeah. And who would not think that this genteel man, so who would think? Who would think that this genteel man spent all day yesterday with a crust of bread, and that his servant Lathero brought him a crust of bread that his servant Lathero brought him. One day and night from inside his breast, so from inside his clothes where he had it kept the bread, where it couldn't have kept clean. And today, washing his hands and his face, since there wasn't a cloth for the hands, he used the skirts of his tunic. Yeah, you would think all this. No one for sure. Oh, where's my? I've lost mine. There it is. So no one for sure would suspect that. Oh Lord, and how many of these? How many of these men must you have scattered around the world who suffer for that darkness which they call honour? And they suffer this, what for you, Lord God, they would not suffer.